From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Dolphin Bevan.
Dolphin?
You're intelligent, but you can't speak to humans.
Yeah. Well, no argument. You nailed it.
Again. I love finding nicknames for coworkers that fit you. I really liked that one. I really like that one a lot. Yeah. Intelligent, but can't speak to humans. Yeah. It's mostly just a series of high-pitched squeaks.
I can get up on the water like a flipper like that.
Yeah. That's typically how he talks to me. And you get to the point where you can interpret it. And, Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the list of all the things I've broken this week, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Graveline. If you go to Graveline Tours or graveline.rip and put in the promo code Tipster40, you get a healthy 40% off of any tour that you may want to take when you're in the Southern California area. We are going to have a tipster visit us in June. I'm not going to say her name in case something happens, but she wants us to all go on the Black Dahlia tour.
Oh, cool.
So we'll hopefully we can get to that. First up is a sighting of Joshua in the wild at Sam's Club. We almost ran into each other's carts.
You were looking at your phone texting, and I saw, okay, cool, this is good. I'm just going to pretend I'm not looking and just smash right into you.
That's funny. It's our meet cute at Sam's Club, except I looked up just in time, and then I purposely ran into your cart just to be a bitch. Right. Yeah. And I got to meet Joshua's very beautiful parents, and which was a shock to me because I assumed he had been sort of fashioned in a lab. I didn't know. I mean, they could be Borgs. Are they Borgs?
These are my adopted parents.
Oh, okay, right. All right.
I was sweet. Created in the lab.
Yeah, I thought you were sort of lab created. So I got to meet.
They're very generously. I was mooching a Costco or a Sam's Club trip off of them. So.
We only had a couple things in your cart.
No. We hadn't even started yet.
Oh,
I was waiting for them, so I was throwing a couple of things.
Oh, okay. And then, you had like Lucky Charms and a block of cheese and a couple rock T-shirts.
No. Don't worry. I mooched properly.
Okay. Well, they're very sweet. They're very cute. You look a lot like your dad. He has very pretty eyes and interesting chin, vagina, facial hair, and a cute hat. And your mom is a tiny little cute woman with pretty curly hair. So it was nice, and then he blames me because the Mountain Dew Baja Blast is broken, because that was the only thing I wanted. And then he takes a text when he's up there at the food court and says, "You broke it," and I'm like, "I haven't even gotten up there yet, so it's not me. Don't blame me." And my favorite part was, I came up and they were all eating at the food court. He and his mom and his dad, and I said, "What are we going to do with him?" And his mom's like, "I don't know. We tried. You fix it or whatever." And I was like, I don't want to. No. Go back to the lab and you figure it out, lady. But they're very cute. It was nice to see you in the wild and nice to meet your parents. They're very, very sweet. I could have just stood there and talked to you. I mean, we talk for a couple of hours every week, but I could have just stood there in Sam's Club and talked to you forever. And I don't even remember what we were talking about. But it was
it was just random.
But I was having fun.
Me too.
Okay, so. Last week, I mentioned blowing up the San Juan Sheriff's Department's system, internet, and then computer system, as they tried to get me a public records request filled.
No. There's more.
Mm-hmm. And then I mentioned my friend Frank from the Widows and Widowers group who tried to buy me carrot cake. Mm-hmm. And it was a nightmare. And then on Sunday, when I'm at bowling, which I hate with a white hot passion, I get a text from Frank, and he says, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you. Your electronic disturbance syndrome managed to get the desserts charged to my credit card and then immediately credited. So thank you for free dessert." And I was like, if only I could use my powers for something more than dessert. But
just work up to it. It's good. Free cake.
Yeah.
Eventually it'll be like a free side dish.
look, I don't want to be greedy.
And then you get to meal, and then, all the way to destroying the robot overlords.
Right. And then, I do have some work to do. So, I got the public records request via a disc from the San Juan County Sheriff's Department, and sweet Joshua had loaned me his external DVD player so I could play the disc. I was afraid it would come as in a disc, and it did, except it was Blu-ray. And I'm like,
I didn't even think of that.
This is, why would you? It's not 2006. Why would you think? Okay, so I then, to the tune of $90, have to go to Best Buy to get an external Blu-ray player, which I will never use again. Right. And they said they had it in stock, and I went on Saturday night. They didn't have it. And then they said, we can have it either sent to your house by Monday, or we can have it sent to the store and you can pick it up on Wednesday. And I go, hey, let's go with send it to my house. Yeah. What a dumb
why
choice.
Would you want it later?
Right. So it comes to my house on Monday. I plug it in, I download the software to use it, and it says invalid disk.
Oh, God.
So I troubleshoot, why would this happen? And it says, could be a smudge. I have cleaned off my discs and put them in, and they've worked. Okay. So I break open a brand new microfiber cloth out of a package, brand new. Wipe off the disc, put it in, invalid disk.
Okay.
Take a screenshot, send it to the sweet boy at Elijah at the San Juan County Sheriff's Department and say, Elijah, look, apparently it's 2006 in your department, and I had to go buy a Blu-ray player, and this shit ain't working. Is there any other way, any other medium you can send this to me? I will pay. Again, I did not pay much for the disc, but I paid for it. I will pay for that and shipping. Can you send it any other way? And he said, unfortunately, our computer systems limit our use of, mediums, and we have to use Blu-ray. And I'm like, you people are fucking awful. And they're not, they're terrible people. It's just, so he said, I will be happy to send you a new disc, especially since you already paid.
Okay.
So a new one's on the way. I'm going to hope that my Blu-ray, my brand new LG Blu-ray player is working.
Right.
But if not, I'm going to try and ask anyone I know for, I can't even believe this. So anyway, I know it's like first world white people problems trying to figure out a case for a missing guy. It's like,
well,
right.
Yeah, but it should happen.
And these records are not just for me; they're for me and his mom. I'm sending when I download them onto my computer. I promised his mom I'd send it to him. I haven't even told her the shit with the Blu-ray. I'll if I get it to work, I will tell her what's going on. So.
And that's where that's where my brain goes, is you're putting in all this work, all this extra steps, all this, and time and money and effort, and you're not doing this out of greed. You're doing this out of altruism. You're doing this because you're trying to help put this young man to rest.
Yeah.
For his mother.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
You're fucking beautiful. And
stop it.
Good.
Don't make me cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate that very, very much. Your opinion means a lot to me, and I appreciate that. But it feels like all I do is complain about shit that falls apart and breaks. But I'm going to hope that this time isn't my fault. Maybe it was a bad Blu-ray disc or something. But I was like, could it just be anything else? Could it be like on a regular CD-ROM, or could it print out all the files and I'll pay for printing? And I mean, I'm like old school, except this is old school too. Blu-ray is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. When I got it and I'm like, Blu-ray. Awesome. And then I even tried, I'm so dumb, I tried to play it in Joshua's DVD player, and it's like, oh no, sorry, you can't play that disc. I'm like, oh, okay. So I send it wasn't.
I don't think it's dumb. They look exactly the same. I wouldn't have even thought of.
But Blu-ray is, I guess, its own thing.
Well, Blu-ray is the next level. Yeah, start with CD and then DVD. Okay, now we got Blu-ray. I mean,
that no one uses.
Well,
I guess unless you're like a movie aficionado and you want something to look different, or I don't know.
Well, but as far as like the actual movie, you can stream it on even higher quality than Blu-ray.
Right.
You can get,
Right. I mean, I was like, I kind of can't believe this is Blu-ray. And then, I sent Elijah, when I tried to troubleshoot every way I could to make it work, I sent him, a not mean email, but I said, hi, Elijah, thanks for the heads up that it's Blu-ray. Had to go buy an external Blu-ray player, and now it says an invalid disc. So apparently I'm trapped in 2006 with you guys. Anything else we can do? So yeah, that's where we are, and we will be covering that case if I can ever get the goddamn shit.
Sure.
And it's really, like I said, it's mostly for his mom. I could cover the case now, but I would prefer to have, I know I have cooperation from the San Juan County Sheriff's Department. They're being very good to me. But, and apparently there's a bit of a confusion. There's a San Juan County Sheriff's Department in Utah, and apparently they are not doing a good job on two missing men. They went there on the promise of jobs, and they've been missing for several days now.
Oh, no.
And that's kind of what happened.
This is a recent thing.
Yeah. In the last week. And that's kind of what happened to the person I'm covering in the San Juan County Sheriff's Department in New Mexico.
Right.
So it's similar cases, but yeah. So this case was actually covered by Unsolved Mysteries, and I know there's several. It was in 1991, I believe it was on Unsolved Mysteries, and I know several YouTube podcasts have covered it, and I was just fascinated by it for a couple of reasons. One is the victim is so a remarkable young girl. She was 26, I think, and she was pretty spectacular. And this woman was such an amazing young girl at the age of 26. She had recently moved to Orlando from Virginia, and she had taken 14 years of dance. And she moved to Orlando, Florida to be a dancer because, there's a lot of stage shows with Disney.
Oh, okay. Disney kind of,
yeah.
Gotcha.
She, really wanted to be a dancer, but she was also possibly one of the most ambitious young girls. I mean, so her name is Deborah with a R-A-H, Deanne, D-E-A-N-N Poe. Now, some articles call her Deanne Poe. Some articles call her Debbie Poe. Some people spell her name D-E-B-R-A, but it's D-E-B-O-R-A-H.
Oh, okay.
But she went by Debbie. So Debbie Poe had moved to Orlando in October of 1989. And she moved with her best friend who became her roommate, Lori Tillman. And Lori was, look, we were like sisters. We would fight and then not talk for a few days. And then if anything happened, we'd be there for each other. She said we were really the best of friends and more like sisters than anything. And Debbie was tiny, but so fucking fierce. I mean, she was the perfect stature for a dancer. She was like 5'3", 105 pounds. She was a perfect body type for a dancer. And she was also so pretty, real pretty, fluffy, kind of curly, wavy hair that she wore in the kind of layered look of the late 80s, early 90s. She didn't wear a lot of makeup, and she didn't really need to.
Okay.
Because she was just so fucking pretty, real pretty, dark brown eyes. And her hair was, they called it streaked, but it was like, had highlights.
Oh, okay.
So it was like medium to dark brown, but she had some blonde highlights in it at the time of her disappearance.
That late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but not like the tacky ones. Not like as my old hairdresser, my mean girl hairdresser, David would say, that person's hair looks like rent stew.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was mean.
What a bitch.
Yeah, he was awesome. Totally.
Wow.
Yeah. She was just like this lovely, lovely girl. And she was so ambitious. She worked 2 full-time jobs. One was at the Orlando Sentinel, the, venerable newspaper. She worked in the, like kind of the marketplace, like probably placing ads for people who were selling things back then. And then overnight she worked at a Circle K convenience store. in Orlando at the corner of Hall Road and Aloma Avenue. But she'd only been in town 4 months. They got there October of 1989, her and Lori, and it's February of 1990.
Okay.
And she has already secured 2 full-time jobs.
Nice.
And she has a boyfriend. She had purchased a new red Toyota Celica, which, I feel so much for this girl. I moved to California by myself at the age of 27, and I didn't have a Celica at the time. I had a red Camaro because I was a total hillbilly. But I had 3, after that I had 3, when that blew up, I got Japanese cars, 3 Toyota Celicas in a row, and I loved them. And I only got an SUV because I was teaching yoga and had to carry yoga props.
Okay.
So I needed something bigger, but I love me a Toyota Celica. And she had a red Toyota Celica she was paying for herself. She would not ask, her parents for help. So she's working 2 full-time jobs, neither of which she's like madly in love with, but she's doing it to pay for everything. And she's saving up. What an ambitious 26-year-old. She's saving up to buy a house, and she wants to start like a catering business. I mean, she's just working her ass off because she has dreams and goals and wants to make them happen, and doesn't, she's not relying on anyone else.
So good.
She's like amazing. Now I'm going to tell you another reason I'm sort of in love with Debbie is I can see myself in her. My mother applied for colleges for me when I was in the 9th grade. And I was like, what if I don't want to go to college? And she's like, oh, you're going.
Nice.
And she wasn't forceful. She was, try to imagine the exact opposite of me. She was very quiet and demure, and she didn't curse. She was almost British.
Okay.
But she was like, oh, you're going.
Yeah.
You're going to college. And I was like, okay. And I said, what if I want to work at a gas station? And she said, you're not working at a gas station. I mean, that was not going to happen. So I feel so much for Debbie because she worked at ostensibly a gas station overnight. The worst shift.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was in college and I worked in retail, and I was like, maybe I need to find something that pays more money. And I had 2 friends who said, Melissa should be a bartender. I think she'd be great if she learned how to be a bartender. And I, didn't drink.
Right.
I'd have to go to school and all that. And my mom's like, she's not going to be a bartender. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I know. And then I was like, I don't care. I fucking sold like women's clothes and I worked at Claire's. I was promoted to the assistant manager of Claire's boutique. I mean, check me out. Yeah. Made $4.25 an hour or whatever. And I couldn't pierce babies' ears because they cried and I would cry. So I know it's like somebody else has to do this. I cannot pierce these. Some mom wants their baby's ears pierced. Wait till they're old enough to decide if they want it themselves. I will not do it. So anyway, yeah. I worked in retail and I was like, maybe there's something better. Maybe something different makes more money. I had another friend who said, oh my gosh, they're hiring at this very like upscale liquor store. And it was overnight. And my mom's like, no. And I'm like, all right, I don't care. Whatever. I didn't drink, and people who did sometimes like scared me.
Yeah. I mean,
the overnight shift. Mm-hmm. What are you going to get, right?
Well,
right.
Gonna be, yeah.
As an example, 2 weeks before Debbie disappeared, she's working the overnight shift at the Circle K, which is not an upscale liquor store. And she was chased around the aisles by a naked drunk man until she could get him out of the store and lock the door.
Oh boy. Oh my God. Yeah.
And
strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how could they not be, really?
Yeah.
How many Slim Jims can you sell?
Sure.
Before it then becomes 40-ounce, cans of whatever.
Oh God. Yeah.
Kerosene or lighter fluid that people drink or whatever.
The good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
The real good ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, here's this little, exactly. This little in Orlando, this little 5'3", 105-pound girl is so fucking tough. She's like, and this is something I love so much about her again, is that her friends and people who knew her loved her so much, they would take turns showing up overnight at her shifts so she was not alone.
Oh.
Her boyfriend, several female friends,
Wow.
her mom.
Just showed up to keep her
Yep.
company and just keep an eye out.
In case, in case naked guy or, whatever.
Right.
So her disappearance is even more strange to me. February 4th of 1990 at 4:30 a.m., the sheriff's deputies are responding to a call to the store. We have narrowed down the time that she went missing. At first, it was between 3 and 3:30, but it's actually between 3:15 and 3:30. We've narrowed it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because of customer reports and, you'll see. So
okay.
At 4:30, sheriff's deputies get a call to come to the store. There's two customers that, go to the open all night Circle K and no one's there. There's nobody behind the counter. One of the customers happens to be a friend of Debbie's, and she immediately is like, something's wrong. She's not here.
Sure. Okay.
So her and a stranger customer are like, yeah, we need to call this in right away.
Right.
So behind the counter, they find her work smock that's been neatly folded. A cup of coffee and a carton of chocolate milk are on top of a stack of house plans on the floor behind the counter. She would be reviewing house plans during work when it was slow because she was saving up for the kind of house she wanted.
Oh, houses of her own. Oh, no. Okay.
For her and her boyfriend. The cash register is locked. There's no evidence of a robbery. It doesn't appear that anything is gone except for Debbie.
Okay.
It doesn't look like there's a struggle, except that she's gone. Her new red Toyota Celica is parked in its usual parking space. It's locked. Her purse was sitting on the back seat. Her paycheck and her keys are still inside her purse. She had two sets of keys. And there's no evidence that anyone had tried to open the door to the car. So her friend Lori is like, look, this is extremely unusual for her. She is extremely, responsible. She works from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. by herself behind this counter. Her parents and I begged her to quit. And she was like, nothing will happen to me. Her boyfriend, Scott Iagi, would stay, along with her friends and her mom, and she is just like, no, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about me. Everything's fine. So just after her shift started at 11, a friend stopped by to discuss her house plans. That's why she was like looking at them and showing them to her friend. Her boyfriend, Scott, visited around midnight and left at 1. She waited on customers when Scott was there, and her friend who had come by earlier came back and didn't leave until 3:05.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Another friend drove by the store, looked inside, and saw her at 3 a.m. behind the counter. Everything seemed fine. I mean, this is the kind of girl where people want to check on her because they love her so much. And she's in what they consider a dangerous,
Yeah.
So her first friend, who was there a little after 11, shows back up at 3:50, and it's her friend and her personal friend, and she's gone. And then they call the sheriff's department. So sometime between 3:15 and honestly 3:30, and I'll explain why, because someone shows up and says, hey, no one was there. And then at 3:50, her friend's like, no, my friend should be here.
Yeah.
So this is not, when the sheriff's department shows up, they have tracker dogs immediately. They trace her scent through the store to the back of the store, through a wood fence, and to a parking lot at an apartment complex. Sounds like she was either forced into a car there or left in a car there. And they were like, could she have just left her life? No. I think they were thinking because her smock was folded up and it didn't look like, but then they find her purse, all of her information, her paycheck.
Right.
Unless she was trying to disappear from her life and she had nothing to disappear from.
Yeah, okay.
She's working her ass off. She's not running from the law. She's not trying to get away from an abusive man.
She's making plans for a house.
Right. Right. And working her ass off to make that come true.
Yeah.
So they do an extensive search of this apartment complex, and they finally are like, look, she did not leave voluntarily. She was abducted. And then they kind of look into it and find out in that time frame, in about a 6-month time frame, there are 3 overnight clerks who have gone missing.
Oh no. Wait, from the same store or from okay, other in town?
Yes, in close proximity.
Got it.
But convenience stores that are open overnight.
Got it.
One is a 29-year-old woman named Donna Callahan. She was in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and there was no signs of a struggle at her scene. She was 3 months pregnant and left behind a 2-year-old daughter. You'll hear later that there is a confession. And September, so these are just like 5 to 6 months before Debbie goes missing.
Okay.
These are in late 89, fall of 89, and she goes missing in February of 90. Right. 36-year-old Darlene Messer was abducted from a Lake City convenience store, and 2 days later, her body is found in a nearby creek. She had been bludgeoned to death. So all 3 of these victims are beautiful, single white females in their 20s or 30s, and they're working a graveyard shift alone. At first there's like, oh, there's no, connection. And then they're like, maybe they're connected, but we don't have a suspect.
Sure.
So 3 days after Debbie's disappearance, they're contacted by a young woman who read about her case in a local paper. And she came forward and said, you know what? I think I may have come face to face with her abductor. Now, I will tell you, there are theories that it was the person who abducted her or a customer who came in and she wasn't there. This is so circuitous and weird. This story is so weird, but all I want is for Debbie's mother, Nancy, who's the only person left alive to care about her daughter's, whereabouts. I just would like her to have some peace. Yeah. This woman who called law enforcement said that I had stopped by at 3:30. So now we've narrowed it down to between 3:15 and 3:30.
Okay.
So she's gone, and she said, I wanted to pick up a pack of cigarettes. There's only one person in the store, and it's a man. And he's behind the counter.
Oh.
And I thought he worked there. And she said, looking back on it, I get it now. Maybe he didn't work there because he didn't know where the cigarettes were.
Huh.
And she said that might be common if you're new.
Sure.
So I didn't hold it against him. I had to point out where they were. And he, handed them to her and rang her up using the register and said, you really shouldn't smoke, He rang. And when you hear what he looks like, you're going to piss your pants. This is the last person who should tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do. Okay.
Yeah. I'm laughing because this is a guy who's in the middle, or as you're saying it, suspected so far, he's in the middle of an abduction.
Right. Or he's there buying something himself and there's no one there. And so he's trying to take care of it and he's chastising a customer.
Sure.
You really shouldn't smoke, and wait till you hear what he looks like. You're going to die. Oh, yeah. He used the cash register and made change for her.
Uh-huh.
So they asked anyone else who may have, and you're going to hear what he looks like, who may have run into this guy, no one else remembered seeing him. Huh. So they're like, maybe he was a customer who walked in, there was no one there, and he took the opportunity to shoplift.
Weird.
Right. And then this woman comes in, and so he doesn't get caught. He's pretends to work there. Yeah. It's super weird. Right. So this detective is like, this is a possibility that this customer, who later on is interviewed in silhouette. So she's, her privacy is kept, but they're like, maybe she ran into a killer, an abductor and a killer, or Or maybe he's just like a weirdo.
Just a weirdo. Sure.
After days go by, her family and her friends are like, look, we just would like to put her to rest. All right, so here's a picture of the guy.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And I will put it up. And we are spoiled with Carl Koppelman and Dr. Falsetti's wife, Katiana Falsetti, because they are really good artists.
Yeah. Am I expecting a not so good artist?
Well, you're going to love it.
Oh, no.
This is a drawing of a potential suspect. They're not sure if he was involved. They later on say he's not. He's a white male, at least 5'10", with a muscular build, between 19 and 25, back in 1990. Long, stringy, black, shoulder-length hair and dark eyes.
Okay.
He's wearing a wire earring with a cross in his right ear, a skull ring on his hand, and a black T-shirt with the name Megadeth across the top and a spitting dragon, a dragon spitting fire.
Okay.
He apparently, in the parking lot, had a black van with a Megadeth mural airbrushed on the side of it.
All right.
So here we go.
Yeah. I'm not this guy. That guy's super metal. Wow. I like his lips.
Yeah, those are juicy.
Yeah.
I would say he looks Native American because of the bone structure.
Okay.
But she said white. I mean, that jawbone could cut, open an envelope or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put this picture up.
Yeah, he's a good looking rocker,
No,
dude.
he's not. He is absolutely not. He is absolutely not. So, yeah, this is, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, and you're telling me he's not actually a suspect.
Well,
so he is just a weirdo that walked in.
They apparently, in a moment, you'll hear that they, found someone they thought is him, and he is no longer a suspect.
Right.
They think that he may have been the boyfriend of a coworker.
Oh, okay.
And maybe he knew, he got behind, like he's. Look, I don't know where the girl who works here is, but I'll go back behind the counter and I'll ring up this fucking woman and her cigarettes, and I'm off to put in my new Megadeth 8-track.
Right.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm just guessing.
Sure, and I guess I can feel that, like, okay, who's ever on duty isn't here, went to the bathroom or okay, isn't in the bathroom. I'm going to cover for her.
Right.
So she doesn't get
in trouble.
Yeah.
And then leave and not report it.
Yeah,
maybe she'll come back.
That's
maybe
the
she'll
weird
come
bit.
back. Maybe he's thinking she'll come back and I want to get her in trouble or something. I mean, it wasn't 1989, 1990 wasn't the time of everyone having a cell phone.
Sure. Well, yeah. I don't know. Okay.
With a Megadeth case cover.
Like, I'm thinking about if I walked in at 3 a.m. And nobody's in the convenience store.
Right. I'd probably get the fuck out. I can go to a different one because I'm afraid I'm going to die.
Hello? Yeah.
Like who's in the liquor aisle down on the floor, shot in the face or whatever.
Well, I mean, I would probably think, okay, somebody's in the bathroom or whatever. And if I came in for something, I would get my thing and then just shout, hey, I'm leaving cash on the counter.
Right. And when people have disappeared from stores, we've heard of that happening quite often. Yeah. Like people are like, hey, and if there were, and this of course did not have cameras, but if there's cameras, it's like, hey, look, I'm leaving this here, and I got whatever, I got my chocolate milk.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And my Slim Jim. I'm outie. I got a new Megadeth 8-track waiting for me. I got to go. So her boyfriend, of course, they think is a suspect. He was, there off and on that evening. And they're like, maybe, he's got a problem. He took a lie detector test and he passed. I mean, that is what that is. The man who had chased her 2 weeks earlier, they thought maybe this has something to do with it. And he had chased her around the store naked and drunk. She went out to the gas pumps. He followed her and then she ran back in and locked the door. And he left, and they have never been able to locate Mr. Naked. But,
Okay.
Right. She did date someone before Scott, and she thought he was mentally unbalanced. And they checked with him. And, even after Debbie and he had stopped dating, he had harassed her. And he goes, "No, I was homesick that night." I don't know if that was, right.
Homesick. Okay. Is it? Does he have roommates or it's not? I
I don't
mean,
know.
okay.
It didn't say like we vetted him and he's not a suspect. It just said,
Okay.
I know. There was also a drunk woman who had come into the store at 8 p.m. before Debbie started because she said she found Debbie's name and work number in her husband's wallet. And Debbie was not dating him or cheating with him, but she ended up having an alibi for the time that she was missing.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's so...
Did they figure out? Okay, they did. They confirmed he had her number.
Yeah, her work number,
Oh,
like her name and the number at Circle K.
The store.
Right.
All right.
So maybe he's obsessed with her and his wife's a drunk.
Sure.
Because she was very pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a beautiful girl and and smart. And also, I feel like she was like a tiny Marine. Like she was, she was tough.
Yeah.
If a naked drunk guy is chasing me around, would I think to run outside? Hopefully he follows me and I run back in before he can get me and lock him out.
Huh. Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I think she was just kind of amazing. So, yeah. So, in November of 96, police announced that they believe the man behind the counter was actually, the boyfriend of one of her coworkers and merely a witness. Okay. They, I think because of the description, they still have his description up, and then there's other reports that say, we just think he was a customer and not connected. So it's like,
yeah.
Right. So in February of 1998, she's legally declared dead. And this is the weirdest part. In March of 2002, police announced that they had a suspect in her case. They didn't name the suspect, and they said he was known to her. Around the time, investigators searched an area of land near Chapel Hill Baptist Church in Orange County, Florida.
Okay.
And it's 5 miles from the store, and they say it's close to the home of the suspect. This is after they've re-examined the case. It's, 12 years later. Cadaver dogs were brought in. They detected the scent of human remains, but nothing was ever found.
Never found any. Okay.
So this area that's 5 miles from the store and close to the home of a suspect, what's interesting is that the suspect could possibly be her boyfriend, Scott, because he lived across the street from that church and had once been a pastor there.
Oh.
There's speculation that he had been the suspect mentioned by police, but none of that has been confirmed. I can't imagine being Scott,
Yeah, I mean, the significant other is always
right,
a person of interest or whatever. I mean, you always, but yeah, if he already was interviewed, and I mean, yeah,
right. In the meantime, Donna Callahan's case was solved in 1996. A man named William Wells confessed to killing her and led police to her body in the remote area of Defuniak Springs in Florida. He also implicated his brother Mark in the murder, and both of them were convicted and are serving life sentences. They were considered suspects in Deborah's case as well, but they have never admitted that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they were visiting William Wells and Mark Reeb, who's his half-brother, were visiting a relative that was close to the area where Debbie worked at the time.
Okay.
A female witness picked Wells out of a photo lineup and identified him as a man she had seen in the store that night. If you remember, the one witness said there was only one man in the store, and that was the man with the long stringy hair behind the counter. Uh-huh. But her friend and another customer were there at 3:50.
Oh.
And then they called the police.
Oh, okay. After.
And there was a man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after the guy with the long dark hair. And they both said that they identified William Wells as a man who was at the store.
As another man
picked him out. Yeah, picked him out of a lineup. He said, "I have no idea what you're talking about. I wasn't there. I was under house arrest at the time."
But there isn't. I mean, that seems like a record that you could look up or not.
Right. And how were they visiting a family member?
Yeah.
Under house arrest. Right. So they've never been charged in connection with that. I mean, her father, Alvin, and her brother, Stephen, have both passed away without seeing any kind of resolution, but her mother, Nancy, is still searching for her, which is, why we're doing this.
Oh, okay.
I know it's 1990. I know it's Orlando. I know it's, but I am going to put her picture up, and even though the guy was kind of thought of as a boyfriend of a coworker, I'm putting his picture up too.
I mean, just to admire it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Joshua thought he was awfully cute.
He's pretty.
Yeah. No, he's not even close. You know what he looks like to me? He looks like the chief who killed Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. He does not look like a white dude with long string. He looks like Native American.
Right.
And super weirdo.
He doesn't look like an actual human being in the picture. That's really what it is. He looks.
That is true, sir.
He looks like somebody that Beavis and Butthead would encounter.
Yes.
In their yeah.
Maybe
it's the Megadeth T-shirt.
Yes.
I don't know.
They're going to the convience store to get some more Bubblicious.
And he's the guy.
And he's there. Yeah. And he's cool. Wonder if he'd let us see his van. Look at that van. That van.
Is that your Megadeth van?
Yeah, really.
Outside. Yeah.
That airbrushed fire spitting dragon is should be in a museum.
Do you know how hard it is not to do a bad Beavis and Butthead impression right now?
I'm so proud of you.
you.
I'm so proud of you, my friend. I cannot tell you how proud I am of you right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you happen to have been in the Orlando area in 1990, and if you recognize the beautiful Debbie, I mean, Debbie Poe was kind of a special human being. I mean, you never want to see a young, beautiful girl disappear for any reason, but someone who's contributing to society in such a beautiful way, who is working her ass off, who has friends who care so much about her. They show up at her crappy overnight shift to make sure she's okay. I don't know. I just feel like that's a light that should never have been put out.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So if you have any information, please contact the Orlando PD at 321-235-5300. And remember, Nancy is still looking for what happened to her daughter. I mean, that's why we do these things. That's one of the reasons we do these things, because who among us has the right to take someone else's life and not pay for it somehow? And Nancy needs to know where her daughter is, what happened, and maybe have a place where she can take flowers to her daughter.
Absolutely.
So if you have a tip on a missing person or unsolved homicide, or you just want to suggest a case for us to cover, please call us at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media platforms, the Just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JT Tipsters on Instagram, at JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.